He controlled more land than any person alive. He commanded the largest army in the known world. He had access to unlimited wealth, unlimited power, and unlimited pleasure. And every single morning, before he did anything else, he sat down and reminded himself that he was nothing, that he would die, that everything he had could be taken, that today, like every day, he would have to earn the right to call himself a good man. His name was Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, the most powerful human being on the planet. And his private journal, never meant to be read by anyone, contains zero advice on how to get rich, zero strategies for building power, zero ambition, only discipline. And that is exactly why he won. Most people have the formula backwards. They think success creates discipline, that once you win enough, you will finally have the structure, the clarity, the focus to become the person you want to be. Marcus Aurelius had it the other way around. Discipline first. Everything else follows. He was born into privilege, one of Rome's great aristocratic families. By 17, the Emperor Hadrian himself had noticed him and set him on a path to power. By 40, he wore the purple. He ruled an empire that stretched from Scotland to Syria. And still, every morning, he wrote. Not strategy, not plans, not goals. He wrote about his own weaknesses, his failures, his tendency to get angry, his temptation to avoid difficult people, his fear of being corrupted by comfort. The book we now call Meditations was never meant for us. It was a private manual, written to himself, about himself, a daily reckoning with who he actually was versus who he was trying to be. And in that gap, between the man he was and the man he demanded himself to become, an empire was built. Here is what most people miss about Marcus Aurelius. We want his results. We do not want his process. His process was brutal, not in the dramatic sense. No cold plunges, no 4 a.m. wake-ups, no hustle culture performance. Brutal in a quieter way, the way only honest people know. Every morning Marcus sat with his own failures. He did not celebrate wins. He cataloged where he had fallen short, where anger had gotten through, where he had been lazy in thought, where he had treated someone as a means to an end. And then he set the standard again. This is not how modern ambition works. Modern ambition says, set a goal, visualize success, take action, reward yourself. Modern ambition is external. It measures itself in outcomes, revenue, followers, titles, net worth. Marcus measured himself in something that cannot be tracked. Character, daily, without audience. He writes, confine yourself to the present, not the empire you want to build, not the legacy you hope to leave, the present, the decision in front of you, the person standing in your office right now, the conversation happening, the difficulty that just arrived. Most people dealing with business pressure look for exits. Marcus looked for entry points. This is the discipline no productivity app can give you. But here is where it gets uncomfortable. Because what Marcus Aurelius built, this empire of discipline, came at a cost most people are not willing to pay. And it has nothing to do with time, or money, or effort. It has to do with what you are willing to stop wanting. Marcus Aurelius could have anything. He chose almost nothing. Not because he was broken, not because he had given up, but because he understood something that takes most people decades to learn. Wanting more is not ambition. It is noise. He writes, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is not a quote for a phone wallpaper. This is an operational principle. The most powerful man alive was telling himself daily that the market does not owe you a win. The client does not owe you a yes. The economy does not owe you growth. Your only jurisdiction is yourself. Now apply this to business. Seriously, most entrepreneurs suffer not from lack of skill, but from misallocated attention. They obsess over what competitors are doing. They spiral when the algorithm changes. They make emotional decisions when revenue dips. They confuse urgency with importance. Marcus ran an empire with millions of variables outside his control. Wars he did not start. Plagues he did not cause. Economic crises. Political betrayal. His response every time was the same. Return to what is inside the circle. My judgment. My action. My character in this moment. That is it. And from that, he built one of the longest-lasting empires in human history. There is a second principle, less talked about. Marcus practiced what the Stoics called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Every morning before he faced the day, he imagined what would go wrong, not to catastrophize, not to spiral into anxiety, but to strip the shock out of difficulty before it arrived. He writes, "Begin the morning by saying to thyself, I shall meet with meddling, ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, uncharitable men." Read that as a CEO walking into a Monday morning. Read that as a founder entering a board meeting. Read that as anyone managing people, deals, and expectations at the same time. He did not hope for the best. He prepared for reality. And this is where most modern ambition fails completely. We build for the upside. We vision board the outcome. We talk about the win. We prepare almost nothing for the version where it goes wrong. And then the first real difficulty arrives. The partnership falls apart. The product fails. The key person leaves. And we are genuinely surprised, as if difficulty were not the default state of building anything real. Marcus Aurelius was never surprised by difficulty. Not because he was cynical, but because he had already met it in his mind that morning. He had already decided how he would respond. He had already chosen his character before the test arrived. That is the difference between a man who survives crisis and a man who was built for it. There is a third principle, and it is the one that will make you uncomfortable if you are honest about it. Marcus Aurelius writes, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple, obvious, and almost entirely ignored by modern ambition culture. He was not just talking about ethics. He was talking about energy. Marcus had a rule that ran underneath everything he did. Do less, but do it better. Cut everything that is not essential, and pour the energy you recover into what actually matters. He writes, "Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? Not is this interesting, not is this impressive, not will this make me look capable. Is this necessary?" Most people running businesses, building careers, managing complexity, they are drowning in unnecessary motion, meetings that produce nothing, decisions made by committee to avoid personal accountability, work performed for the appearance of effort rather than the reality of it. Marcus Aurelius called all of it waste. Not because he was lazy, he ran an empire, but because he understood that scattered energy is not ambitious energy. It is exhausted energy, wearing ambition's clothes. The man who does 3 things with full attention will always outbuild the man who does 30 things with none. So what does this actually mean for you? Not that you should stop wanting success. Marcus Aurelius wanted Rome to survive. He worked relentlessly to protect it. Ambition is not the enemy. The enemy is ambition without a foundation. A man who wants to build wealth but has no discipline over his own reactions. He will panic in the first crisis. He will make an emotional hire. He will spend to perform instead of build. A man who wants to lead but has never prepared himself for difficulty. He will break the first time the market turns. A man who cannot ask himself what is necessary. He will be busy forever and build nothing. Marcus Aurelius gave us a different model. Build the inside first. Not your brand, not your following, not your revenue. Your judgment, your response under pressure, your ability to sit with difficulty without flinching, your capacity to return to what matters, again and again and again, no matter what the world throws at you. That is the real success system. It has no funnel, no algorithm, no shortcut. Only the daily practice of becoming harder to destroy. Marcus Aurelius understood something every truly successful person eventually learns. The empire you build outside is always an expression of the empire you built inside. He started with himself every morning for 20 years. And the world remembers him 2,000 years later. Not because he was the most powerful, not because he was the wealthiest, not because his armies were the largest, but because when he had every reason to stop being good, he chose not to. Every single day. This is Philokemi. We will see you in the next one.